sitting here watching this stream today, you cannot underestimate how ahead of the curve you are right now.
Bitcoin looks tired. All coins look hungry.
I'm just not quite sure that Bitcoin has any more sauce.
I still think this thing is really worth a lot more than it is.
This stuff's spooky, man. These chaos PRZs are intense.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Solana is highly performant and has the team with the experience to support it.
$4,800 Ethereum. That's a big, big move here.
Whatever you do, always play from a position of strength. Welcome back, everybody. It is DeltaFi on Hxro Labs. It is Thursday, October 27th, the last live event on this channel for the month. And market's looking pretty good. It's looking a little bullish here. Now, it's coming into some resistance. It's been going up straight for a couple of days. But this time's a little bit different as far as like the volume and some of the momentum we're seeing in other markets. Got myself RT here and Rob Levy to my right. How are you doing today?
Doing good. I'm doing good.
You must be, dude. I mean, you've had such good, strong conviction. It's not like, we're back in a bull market, but like this move must feel good deep down. Yeah. Just kind of one of those like, oh yeah, this was what I expected.
I don't know. It definitely, it feels good, but it's like a mouse fart.
Depends on your leverage, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, if people strapping on leverage and doing that, then yeah, it feels like an epic move because we haven't really moved much lately. I mean, but yeah, no, it feels anytime, lately we've talked about the macro just vibe, right? And it's like this black hole feeling. This like big gray cloud of this global macro scenario of war and energy prices and currencies and capitulation in bond markets and don't fight the Fed, raising, wanting to see pain. Like that's what we've been under. It's like someone's holding you underwater for a while. So it's been bleak. Like
it's really been bad.
Yeah, in the global sense. Just yeah, it's bleak all around. I mean, even our favorite hip hop artists are getting messed in the head, and now
Kanye, yeah, that's fucked up, dude. That's a little heavy.
I can't even listen to my old favorite hip hopper. I don't know. It just feels like it's been this gray period of time for a while, and October is notoriously a month of, I
Bottoms?
think. Yeah, it is a month of bottoms, but it's also like, if you think about it, a lot of bottoms that get put in, like especially notorious bottoms and epic bottoms, come from epic capitulation style moves where liquidity in the market just literally there's not one buyer there, to take that risk off the next seller. And we've seen a little bit of that in different places. This last month has been, I think we're going to look back and it'll be epic. I don't know.
We didn't really get a crash. I mean, there was definitely some volatility. I mean, crash in crypto for sure. June, yes, that was a crash. But like, if you look at equities here, it's not like COVID, like this COVID 2020 thing, like that was a crash. That was like sharp, intense, 2 weeks of just death. This has been more like the whole year has just been taking back some of the recent gains, or all of them. Meta crashed. That was a crash.
That was a true tail event sort of crash. That was global pandemic uncertainty, like freak out crash. Like you couldn't really hedge that. After the fact, you couldn't really do it. This one in equities, much more controlled, much more protection. You can look at the data in the options world and the skew metrics, how bid the puts got in the volatility universe. Way more controlled. It was like everyone on earth was hedged, literally.
Yeah.
And we didn't get an explosion in volatility because literally it was like almost priced in. It's really, weird. We could talk about that maybe in another show. The actual what happened in the volatility market for equities, which is pretty much the most liquid.
The VIX.
Yeah, I mean, people who were actually long risk, long puts, got carried out when they got the move they thought would happen in terms of direction and magnitude, but the orderly nature, the way that it happened on the distribution of possible scenarios was like it crushed like those volatility bets. So
seriously, yeah, the VIX, barely made a shake above even like 2021. It was even higher. So
yeah,
in Feb. So
this was a very, very, very different. But now let's take a look at some of the other markets, the bond market, for instance.
Oh, I didn't even know the tickers on bonds. I just watched a few guys that know them.
Let's see.
That's a good one.
It like ZB1 is the bond future, the 30-year in trading view. I think it's ZB1 exclamation point. You can do that's kind of continuous.
Oh, yeah. Bonds are coming up. Now, just to be clear, guys, this is a crypto show. Don't worry, we're going to pivot here. But I do want to hear Rob's takes. I don't get to hang out with him much, and he knows some of this stuff really well. So let's hear what he has to say.
Well, it's going to tie back into Bitcoin.
Yeah,
this is going to tie back into Bitcoin and all our fucking coins.
All of them.
So that accelerated. That move got, way more accelerated than equities, the bond move. Way more. Take a look at...
which is weird, right? Because bonds are supposed to go up inverse to stocks. I mean, historically, the 60-40 portfolio is about that, right? So this was kind of a broken system play.
So
almost.
Bond futures going down means rates go up,
okay.
right?
So or inverse, like when rates are going up, which they have been. The one thing even guys like me understand, rates up, interest
the
up.
Bond market has gotten absolutely smoked. Let's even looking at think about 30-year bonds that were issued 2 years ago after COVID, right? The 30-year rate was like what was it? 2%, whatever
low.
It is.
0% in some cases.
Think about that when now the 30-year rate goes to 6 or 6.5. Those bonds, the price, they're like 50 cents on the dollar. Like if you're holding bonds that you purchased in the last couple of years, they've literally gotten smoked. I mean, smoked. So the volatility in the rates markets has been pretty strong. Take a look at the Japanese yen against the dollar. This is one of the biggest currency pairs on earth that when you look at risk. So do USD JPY.
Yeah. Because
this thing actually the yen put in a capitulation style bottom. So it would be, so this is USD JPY.
Oh, yeah, you want it the other way.
Well, I like both. I actually follow USD JPY, but if we look at JPY USD.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see what you mean. It's easier to see it this way, the capitulation to the downside.
I mean, but if you look, this thing lost 40% of its massive amount of value very, very quickly. And for a major currency pair, it literally just this thing accelerated and that's volatile, for one of the major global currency pairs. So volatility is actually it's outperforming in this global macro environment. It is outperforming the volatility in Bitcoin massively right now,
which is incredible to me because I've always been told by everyone, oh yeah, it's too volatile, crypto is too volatile, and then you go look at things like Snapchat, stock, or PayPal, or Peloton, or tech stocks essentially. Everybody who is touting their tech stock portfolios versus this scam that is crypto, they're probably feeling a little pain right now. Look at Meta today after missing earnings, I guess was. Well, I don't really watch earnings and all that shit, but look at that. Oh, that's a crash. That is a crash. This right here. That's pretty nasty.
One of the most valuable stocks in the market. I mean,
but guess what?
Yep.
You know where it's at? It's right down in that sweet spot. So, ironically, this is, even this morning, last night somebody mentioned this might be a buy, and I looked, it was right on the sweet spot. It's already down another level here. I'm not rushing to buy, if anything, just because it's a stock, so it's like it's not like crypto where I could see it new highs like soon. I mean, this is going to clean up for years here at best, and probably is. I would assume it's going to live down here for a bit, not go that much lower, but
Yeah.
But
Well,
anyways,
what if,
I'd
I mean,
rather
if
flip shit
Zuck
quick.
if Zuck is right about the metaverse, which, you know, I think
Probably
this
is.
virtual reality world, like all that stuff is only going to get more advanced and grow. But I think it might happen in a slower stretch of time. Like that chop, if you look at the meta chart, yeah, it might just be in this purgatory for a while. But if they are a dominant player in the meta when it really pops in 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, then maybe this is the most epic buy opportunity.
If you want to invest, yeah, like with the capital I've got my eyes on crypto. I think it's just going to outperform the world for a while here through the 2020s. I think it's going to be our like 80s kind of equities boom that the boomers got. That's the millennials. I think this is our play. Obviously, that's why I'm here. But I am tempted. I mean, yeah, I'm looking at this like this is probably a buy, but I'm just buying crypto stocks. I just can't get enough. I don't see why not to. I picked up some Novogratz stock over on the TSX recently. That's down at the 88.6. If crypto's going to flip here, I mean, this thing on the last bull run, I mean, pretty much every time the bulls run, I guess it wasn't around as much in 2017. Okay, I take that back. But last, like, look at this. I mean, dude, and I almost got filled. I forget what I was waiting or why. I almost got filled. I had my bids at like 47 cents here, the 56 bottom. So, yeah, I got a soft spot for crypto stocks, and that's what I'm loading with my petite stock account. I flipped out of my little mushroom play because nobody gives a shit about magic mushrooms right now. Sugar in the chat. What's up, dude? Welcome back.
Yeah, it's
Mara, another crypto stock here.
I think it's great that Bitcoin doesn't have quarterly earnings reports.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I hate all of this macro stuff. Honestly, every week it's like, oh, the earnings are coming out this week. Oh, look, there's a CPI data. Like, oh, look, there's a GDP data. Like, I don't like trading those kinds of events, and the fact that they're having such an impact on everything I like to trade right now is killing me.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about these quarterly earnings reports. But what are the the equivalents for Bitcoin? You know, we talking about hash rate. The hash rate story right now.
Cost of production is one of the other fundamental metrics. Hash rate.
There's some shit going on in the mining world. I mean, we're going to see, I don't think it's necessarily bearish. Like people say, oh, one of the big miners this morning, Core Scientific, I think.
Yeah, I got it right here, actually. Let me pull that up.
They announced they were stopping payments on the debt that most likely going to run out of cash before the end of 22. So that means in the next couple months.
Mr. Leclerc, yeah.
But then, it's crazy because then you read they have like 24 Bitcoin left to sell or something. Like, everyone sees that and like, oh shit, a ton of Bitcoin is going to hit the market.
24?
They have like 24 Bitcoin left. They had 1,000 at their highest point. You watch that get traded in literally one clip in the future space. It's like, I don't know.
Interesting though, like for size, it looks like top 10 public miners. So public, I don't know what that means. Is there a private market that's a lot bigger? But 4.9%. So one of the biggest or the biggest public miners eats shit. Now, my hot quick take is my question that comes to my mind there is like, well, were they the biggest because they overextended themselves in the bull and bought a whole fuckload of miners and leveraged up and borrowed and now they're just screwed? I don't know. Maybe that's my take.
A buddy of mine who is in the mining world and he's an ex kind of futures trader and options like me, and he always said one of the wild cards for managing your business, your mining business, was difficulty. And if there was a difficulty futures contract or a way to hedge difficulty, which that's the variable which tells a miner, okay, if I'm putting this much electricity to the network, I'm expecting to mine 100 Bitcoin over the next year, or for the because of the next whatever it is month. but you're having to make assumptions about network difficulty, right? And I would imagine potentially these people misjudged and mismodeled and mispriced what difficulty would be. So they expected maybe, oh, if we go into this global recession and the bond market and stock markets get routed and Bitcoin goes down to 18,000, that hash rate will be, 150.
Lower.
And
not higher.
So
yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't really know what that's all about.
Because if for these miners who have, they have electricity contracts that might be, they might be out several years, months, whatever it is. So, a lot of them had locked in costs, and the wild card that kind of bit them in the ass is this difficulty. And also it's the idea of how many more, it's all tied into difficulty. How many more of these new machines are going to get plugged in, are going to be manufactured, get plugged in. And I think some of them just completely misjudged.
Well, I mean, personally, I like that it works this way, that it's a live and organic market where you can go out of business. I don't think Bitcoin really cares. I could be wrong. I don't think Bitcoin really cares who's mining it. Mm-hmm. Every 2 weeks, you get your downward adjustment. If they're going offline, if hash rate's dropping, it's. I think Bitcoin, I feel like, is pretty hardened at this point as far as like miner go up, miner go down. Like, who cares?
Look at this chart, though. That is some dislocation.
Yeah.
This is the dislocation we got.
This is what I'm focused on. Is like, where's value?
Yeah, it's like,
for me.
This is the dislocation we wanted. We wanted Bitcoin moon while equity markets and all that other shit get pounded. But instead we got Bitcoin hash rate moon, which I think is not bad. I think that is even probably more bullish. It's like how much long-term dedicated money and funds and human
investment,
resources, physical resources, investment is going into this.
Like, imagine the flip side. Like, hash rate is stagnant. It's coming off. People are unplugging. They're losing faith. They're not seeing it in the future. And it's like you've been saying a lot this year with inflation running and all these narratives. The thesis is growing so strong. And really that's being expressed in hash rate here. That's like, quietly, there's just a shitload of building going on in the infrastructure of Bitcoin. Yeah. And of course, I am partial to altcoins, of course. I think generally speaking, they've been treating me better over year over year. But Bitcoin is still the granddaddy. Bitcoin is the, it's the leader. It's the leader until it's not. And the hash rate of that network is nothing short of incredible. I mean, it's incredible after 10 years, the amount of computers that people are buying to run around the world. It blows my mind.
Yep.
And I'm slowly becoming a little more like, not Bitcoin maxi at all, but like I'm way less, like I ignored Bitcoin for like a year and a half. Now I'm really into it. I'm focused on it. I think because of that broader global thesis, I really do think that it's providing the best opportunity for us to get off this fiat teat with a new reserve. I don't think about cash payments, all that, but I really genuinely believe there's a chance that it will provide an option here for, for a new global reserve currency. But let's be honest, it's more likely that it's like CBDCs and then they're just going to like put those in and outlaw everything else. It's possible too.
Matter. No, it's not in the end. I don't think it is possible for that.
Talk dirty to me.
I know. I don't think it is possible for that in the end. The sovereign, this idea that a country's government knows all and is like impenetrable, it doesn't exist anywhere. Honestly, it does not exist anywhere. Like our government, and what a shit show. I mean, just the whole political system. There's so much just, it's what do they call pork and everything. It's just so not unpure, right? When it comes to just, and maybe that makes it so pure. I don't know. Yeah. I think that U.S. politics is as bad as it is. I think we have I feel lucky to live here in this system, right?
Well, I think you feel lucky. Now, I don't know what you feel. I think I would feel lucky to live the general lifestyle that is available. But I personally, not to get into politics, but I think y'all shit was hijacked a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, a country founded on these ideals by these young dudes who were saying out with the old and rich and powerful, and now it's run by the old and rich and powerful again. Like, power has a way of concentrating and corrupting, and it's slipped in.
Yeah. Hey, it's a
Everyone's
tail.
like, Biden, Trump. I'm like, bro, it's a lose-lose. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I
No,
digress.
I
I'm Canadian,
agree.
and we're not too much better.
No,
if
I
at all.
don't think you are better at all, to be honest. There's
No, we're not.
I like-
It's power. Power is centralizing, man. It's coming in
guys are
hot
great.
for 100 years. But
You guys are
you know.
great, but your shit's is more broken than ours. I don't even think it. It is. We just saw we saw what happened with the
bridgers, the bridgers.
Yeah.
Look, we might get. Now I voted Liberal last time because he said he was going to legalize weed, and then he did. So I liked that. That was like the first thing I was like, I voted, and then something good happened in my life. Now this, I don't know, some guy coming in conservative side, and he's like pro Bitcoin. I'm like, maybe I'm voting over this. Something positive in my life will happen. We'll see. Anyways, fuck politics. I really, really, really find them cringe because deep down I just feel like it's a gong show. For not voting is useless. What I will go in and do sometimes is I will go in and I will decline to vote. Something very empowering about showing up and being like, decline, and you hand them your thing because they track that. And if 15, 20, 30, 40% of a group were to decline voting, these people who are in power would come and say, hey, how can we get your vote? But if you don't vote, you don't even get that. Anyways, go out and vote, kids. No, we had a municipal election around here. I don't care.
I think
let's talk Bitcoin.
Where we got down this rabbit hole, the bottom line is the need and the fit and the demand for a non-sovereign store of value, a non-sovereign system for finances has never been stronger. I believe it. It's a long road, but I'm thankful we have this technology and some of the smartest people innovating there because this has grown and evolved into such an amazing just space, right? There obviously going to be bad actors in all parts of the world. So there's going to be bad actors that come to this space and make it more difficult for all the positive and good actors. But that's life. I mean, that's everything. So,
dude, and the UK stepping up their crypto game with this new guy who came in. So I don't know anything about him, but the fact that he is on the, at least not anti-crypto, maybe even pro-crypto. I don't know. I wouldn't go that far. I haven't looked into it too much, but
I don't know.
But they came out this week. Actually, that was part of what fueled this, I believe. Right around here, actually, this gap. I was thinking was right around when that news dropped. So we're already kind of breaking out, volume already pouring in, and then basically the England Parliament, whatever, voted to kind of move crypto into like a regulated sort of asset class. I mean, it seemed way more positive than them coming in and saying, we're going to regulate. It was more like, we're going to welcome you into our system and like let you flourish. That, at least that's how the price reacted to it. So we'll see how that goes. But if they need something, I think they've been on sort of a downtail, at least from what I'm hearing, since Brexit, all this shit. So apparently the UK could use a lift. And I think crypto is a great opportunity for any country who wants to not stifle. So the U.S. is really like kind of China and the U.S. both leaving it wide open, right? China banning it, U.S. dragging it through the mud. So it's wide open right now for a country who really wants to step up.
Yeah. No, I think we're going to go through this period here where, okay, we've seen, so now Google had, they had disappointing earnings and Facebook, and then, is Apple going to have disappointing earnings? And the bottom line is like the overall global business climate is not as good. But what I want to see, something that we used to talk about on the floor of the Board of Trade, is when people and there were people, individual traders, like locals and groups who, if they got put into a position or they're making markets in the pit, right? So they actually have to provide two-sided markets, and they get put into a position by paper, by brokers, by whoever that comes in and has to make trades. And let's say they get really kind of long corn, either directionally, if you're in the futures pit, someone just came in and sold corn, or volatility wise or whatever. and then you see some buyer come in to the wheat futures or options, and you say, you know what, I just got long all this corn, I'm going to sell wheat against it, and I'm going to kind of hedge 1-to-1. And then all of a sudden wheat would go on a freakish tear like it tends to do from time to time, and that person would get carried out from that spread, right? So they basically, we call it, you would say, don't sell your corn in the wheat pit, like. So what I'm hoping people did here, I'm hoping that all these like fringe players and funds and people who kind of do believe in long-term Bitcoin and Ethereum and crypto in general, and that values are going to go higher. I'm hoping that because they're Google and their Apple and all that other stuff, their Meta and Snap and all that shit is getting pounded and is going down and earnings are bad, that they're selling their Google and Facebook and all that stuff in the Bitcoin pit because then when they decide, holy shit, I need that exposure back, or I can't believe I sold my exposure out because my other stuff was going down, that's when you see them provide that fuel to where, holy shit, yes, that was the bottom, and these idiots sold all their fucking Bitcoin and Ethereum against their longs elsewhere. So that's my
okay. Don't sell your corn in the wheat pit.
Yep, it's true. You can't do it.
You heard it here first. At the CME, they're trading Bitcoin futures now. Look, I don't know. I saw some guys in a Twitter thread today, like just like in the comments, just all like, yeah, institutions are coming at 700 Bitcoin. Like there's so much negativity right now, and I think it's going to fuel the shit out of this coming rally. I know it's cliche now. We've been pretty bullish throughout this, cautiously optimistic that this was like a low and a higher low, and it's starting to break out now, right? We had a little confirmation here a couple of weeks ago. We had another little W come in here, and now the big one coming across this whole space. So at the very least, I think midterm type rally here into the end of the year. That's just what my charts tell me, and that's what I'm going to trade. But the fuel that could come after that, with obviously having so many stable coins in play, sitting on the sidelines, it's going to, I think, and I hope, come from a lot of these sideline-ers who are talking about like, yeah, it's all good. It's going to make new lows soon. And it might. Yeah. It always could.
Yeah.
But this part of me is just like, go fuck yourself. You're going to buy it at 30K from me, because like that's like the next big level out of this range. Now, look, we've got a lot of work to do. I think here is conservatively any kind of perp longs that I'm in, because I did get some going down here. That's probably me taking that risk off, because, there's no need to sit in heavily funded stuff through another dip down. But my spot exposure, I'm not in a big rush given this entry to like cash that in yet. And I think with this confirmation, we can start drawing chaos PRZs, and we'll do a little conservative. We won't use that CPI wick because I'll call that an outlier. But the chaos energy is taking us into upper range limits, and it's funny because there's a lot of this kind of like, well, we can't go that high. That's ridiculous. We're already so high, and like you said, it's a mouse fart. And I thought that was an interesting perspective, and I'm not surprised to hear that from you, because you tend to keep a sober head, and you've seen it all before, and all this and that. And this is nothing. I mean, we're still just in range, and yet there's a ton of people rushing like, hey, make sure you take profit. Make sure you take profit. Like, I got to stay off Twitter because motherfuckers are attacking my longs. In my head, they're like presenting all this shit like, watch out for that GDP print this morning. It's going to nuke the market. Like, and it's messing with my head. Like, it's like up here.
That's
when I'm thinking shorts, and then I go on Twitter and it's like, oh, moon. And I psych myself out. I get out of the shorts. So at the extreme ends, social media is really bad for the best trades that I'll get into.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's good. That's the fuel, because they're the guys that are going to buy us into that next leg up, right? Because they're going to go, oh shit, I was wrong. Bottom's in. Bye.
Yeah.
That's the plan. That's what I'm looking for here. We'll see. It's a great way to stay in shape. But the volume looks promising. Obviously, this is Binance. They did turn on the free Bitcoin trading, so the volume picked up here. But the volume on this breakout across the board has been incredible.
That would be such tremendous psyops from like CZ. All right, we're gonna do this no fee spot thing. It's gonna make the volume on this like low look like massive accumulation, and it's gonna spring us. Like people forget the buy thing, but in a year when we look back, of course that was the bottom. Look at that volume. Look at the like.
Yeah. Meanwhile, people have been. I've seen guys like pointing their bearish thesis. They're pointing at like Bitstamp's declining volume over the years as like a lack of interest in Bitcoin. I'm like, no, it's a lack of interest in Bitstamp.
Yeah.
So you do have to be cautiously, thinking about those kinds of things. But hey, it's the most volume traded there, so it's the place where I think volume means the most. I mean, I'll typically just I'll look at volume on Solana over on FTX because that's where most of the Solana is traded or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think the highest volume exchange for any given asset is where you should take your cues from the volume. So, this...
Because that's where, in general, that's where players, if they need to move risks or get in a position, then you go to
I'm not going to take my volume cues from Hotbit.
Right.
Right.
I got $1,000 Bitcoin to buy. I'm going to Bitstamp.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be that
2015 called. Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
No, I actually was reading Arthur's thing this week, recent little essay, and he gave a little history on the exchanges in China. I actually only got halfway through it because babies started crying. But it's I'm enjoying that, by the way. Just blaming things that I don't get done or don't get to on the baby. It's like, I was gonna try to do this thing, but the baby. Meanwhile, it's my lady running off to get him, but I'm like, I can't read that whole essay. Sorry, Arthur. Baby's crying. Anyways, I'm learning. I'm learning the ways. Now, look, this breakout, it is different. It's different than a lot of the noise we saw here. It has taken a significant level and closed above it. There is volume, not as hot on this chart, but still significant, right? Where were the bears? Oh, bulls are waking up. And so you typically see these breakouts to higher prices start with a nice fat volume day. Now look down here, right? There was no breakout yet, but you could see it in the volume. It was hinting at what might come. Now we've got the volume and the breakout. But ETH is really what I'm most excited by. Now, some of you guys know I use this Trendmaster here once in a while, and I'll give them a shout. I think it's called Trendmaster Pro or something. I don't know. I bought it for $200 lifetime years ago. I think now it's a little more, but I'm not here to sell it. I don't have a referral. I'm just going to give them a shout because it's a cool tool. And this little breakout candle, the green one, and then if the white one following breaks above that wick, that signals a buy. And so I had a buy stop here because I saw the breakout candle. So I flipped my Bitcoin over to ETH. And we're riding the wave now. And when you look at this, I'm curious to hear your take, Rob, because my feeling is, look at this. So Simulate POW. This is the ultrasound money site. Really cool UI for showing the sort of post-merge Ethereum supply. Now, if it hadn't had the merge, there would have been 503,000 ETH printed since the merge 42 days ago. But because of the merge and that new dynamic, only 1,200. It's an insane difference, and that's 42 days in. So this, you assume you extrapolate outwards, but it is still inflationary, right? There's 1,200 new ETH since 42 days ago. However, you can see here...
Dude, that's nothing for ETH.
Oh, it's not. Oh, no, I know. It's essentially iced it. It's basically zero because that was, what was it, how many thousand per day?
12,000 ETH or 1,200 ETH. I mean... Your futures position is almost that big. It's like $1.5 million.
Yeah, no, it's nothing. That's my point. But here's my thesis for the midterm, because we are breaking out on volume, right?
It's gonna moon.
Yes, that's essentially that's my thesis. But I think that once we go zero here, right? So right now, ETH supply is still positive, even though it's 0.01. Once that goes negative, think of the headlines, right? Every CoinDesk, whatever, they're all racing. Probably even going to get it over on Bloomberg, whatever, and it's the Ethereum #2 cryptocurrency is officially deflationary since the merge. When those headlines drop and this goes to negative, I think it's going to spell awesomeness. I was going to say the opposite of disaster. It's going to spell something amazing, and I think then you're going to get a lot more eyeballs in. And will that be the trigger to finally break this range? I mean, this is a range we've been watching since May 2021, and we dipped pre-merge. We rallied through the merge, didn't quite break the highs. I thought we would. I longed the top. I got the hell out. I'm back in now.
So let's get this straight.
And I think it's going to run hot.
RT. You said it went from over the past 42 days, there would have been 500 and some thousand Ethereum.
Yeah,
mined,
500,000 ETH.
Okay, so that is about what, $750 million worth of ETH at these prices, something like that.
Yeah.
750 million-ish.
And presumably sold, right? Miners sell not always at the bottom, but they sell a lot of their ETH to cover costs.
That's
a lot of sell pressure.
$700 million less hitting the market. That's massive. That's
in 42 days, like basically monthly.
So multiply that by what? 9 for a year, and we're talking about $6-7 billion worth that's not hitting the market over a year. Now, what's happening with the staking rewards though? How are those getting distributed, and how are those going to hit the market?
I mean, they're all locked now, so there's obviously a little bit of juice there in the sense that any staking, there's no unlocks right now. You can't. It's not liquid. There's liquid staking derivatives and all this stuff, but it's pretty ridiculous as far as like just a shift, right? So you have your halvening, and then always historically after the halvening, you have a markup, slow, steady, gradual, and then suddenly. This is like, halvening on steroids, just from a pure supply demand perspective. Now look, demand has been low. We've had a lot of days where there is still more ETH, and we're not even burning 2,000 ETH in fees. EIP 1559 last year, which changed from fees being given to miners and block builders, whoever, I don't know. Now we have block builders. But demand could go up. If demand did go up, we would have a significant shift even in this supply change, which right now is just, it's kind of like, obviously it shot up because there was like no demand, and now it's like actually coming back because of that, was it that XN something coin? It was like eating up ETH fees. It was making up like a huge amount of the ETH fees over the last few weeks. I don't know what's going on with that anymore. Messi was talking about it. So, anyway, so that's my thing. Right now, I just think this is the breakout coming. It's anticipating that shift to negative, and I think the headlines drive it higher. I just don't see Bitcoin keeping up with it. And then, where this ends up, and we get into Bitcoin halving talk, which of course is going to be the headline of 2024, which is way out there. And so, do we get some kind of chaos extension from here, and then, roll over, and then the Bitcoin halving talk comes in, and then Bitcoin has its fun? Like, who knows? All I know is, I'm strong, I'm long and strong while this thing kind of trickles into the zero and negative supply change, because I think that headline is going to go global. Yeah. I feel very strongly about that.
I tend to agree with you. I really do. I think it's a big change structurally. I think people are like, well, it's all priced in. It's this, it's that. Well, no, actually, markets aren't always priced in. They're priced to now, but the liquidity, everything, it's not always priced in. But that's that argument we could spend hours talking about anyway. But,
well, you can it's only easy to see in retrospect. Now, real quick,
can we look at ETH? I mean, ETHBTC. Let's look at it. Let's
break it down. Yeah, real quick. Just this ETH USD. Now, a lot of people, there's speculation. Is at the bottom. Is at the bottom. There's a lot of comparisons. Now, I could probably do this on one of my solo streams just to get right into like drawing a comparison between the Bitcoin bottom in 2018 and the ETH lows here. And these are even cleaner. I mean, you came in hot, big capitulation selling right through. Happened to line up with a beautiful historical trend line, almost that, you could say through this whole bull, it was destined to come back to that level. It's crazy that the capitulation brought it there. Fat W's off those lows into the merge, testing those breakout levels. I mean, to the pip of this ABCD, like there were so many objectives here and we touched them. And now we're breaking out on volume. I mean, it's not one thing or the other. This, to me, looks just like another day in the market. Like this is just really standard price action. So to come into that higher low here and then have a blast in buy volume, it stinks like a bottom to me. It stinks like the beginning of the next leg up. And I mean like on a monthly level. And the best part is, this is the best part of that. I tell people this and we lose subscribers. I tweet something about this, I lose followers. Nobody wants to hear it. You hopium dealing scumbags, stop telling me things that make me feel like I should buy Ethereum. Like, that's the sentiment you need for something to be this, right? To get that low in.
But let's
I love it.
let's
that
use
shit up.
some of your other talents though. On this thing here,
Mm-hmm.
aren't you gonna need, where does the W trigger on this particular daily chart to where like you've got your signal, like your all clear signal? It's still well up there above the
Well,
A,
that's the weekly.
right?
Yeah. The weekly, the big one is the weekly. So you're not wrong. And I think this kind of thing is a bottom. Typically, like I always say, they go sideways. This could be the range.
Yeah.
So this is, but to me, this stamp of volume is kind of like, okay, you had your capitulation. Maybe we go lower. Maybe we don't. We had every reason to go lower over the last however many months. Like, what was the reason not to, right? It was just a big bearish, everything sucked. And instead we just broke out on massive volume, which, some will say, oh, that was actually just liquidations volume. And now we're going lower. I could, maybe, but this is exactly what I wanted to see. But yes, let's go to a weekly on Bitstamp, because that's one chart I haven't marked up. And let's just say, what you really want to see, like the ultimate signal for me, across the board, is just when you see weekly W's. And so that would be here. We've got the higher low. We need the higher high.
So you need a weekly close above there?
Dude, if we get a weekly close above there, that is like the God candle signal. I mean, it doesn't mean we get a God candle right away. In fact, that's when, that's probably my longs right now. So perp longs taking profits. It's more like the dip, any dip after that would be such a gift. You may not get it. I don't know. I saw a really funny thing here. Now this is getting really into like extreme bull talk, but like where was it? Oh yeah, I retweeted it. Well, let's just go look at it. Let's entertain this. It's a bullish day in the market. Everything's coming up Millhouse. Here's the thing though. Like, we have not been sitting on this channel talking about like short, we're bearish. Oh, look, there's an up day. We're now bullish. I mean, this has been the building thesis for quite a while. So we're just gonna own it. Y'all knew what you were gonna get when you came here today, so don't front. Now look at this chart. He's just saying, what if 2021 was a warm up, sub impulse of a larger one with a blow off top, not skipped, but yet to come. In other words, what if this is like the stopping point midway through, just a much more extended bull? And I thought that was so delicious to think about. Anyways, and so he's kind of marked some similarities here, some inverse correlations with the Dixie and some RSI. I thought this was a cute little experiment. I wouldn't trade off this, but I have my own reasons to be long down here. And I'm happy to say that I didn't fuck it up this time for now. So
yeah.
Well, anyhow, this is all very exciting. I do think the Dixie looks cooked. Happy to say. I mean, we got the beginnings of looking cooked, and then last night confirmed this here. So any upside here, just like any dips on ETH and Bitcoin, to me are buys. Any upside here to me is a fade until further notice. I mean, this is a massive level. You go to the monthly, you go all the way back. I mean, this is where the breakdown happened back in 2001, which on a technical level, you could say was destined to be filled in. Well, now it has been. That inverse Wyckoff check, if you will. We've come up here and done exactly what we wanted to see, which is get rejected. So it's exciting times. And like I said, the fact that nobody believes me makes me feel so good. I mean, I think a lot of people do. I'm not like the only bull in the world here, but the comment sections, the average, 100% of the noobs that I know are in stables. That's all I'm going to say. There's some smart people in stables too. There's some great traders I know that are in stables. They don't have their weekly W. They're not ready. But 100% of the people who don't know what's going on or how to trade, they're in stables. That's just a fun fact. I have not met one person who's like not sure and they're like, I'm long. Like, it's because that's not the sentiment trade. And when you don't know what's going on, you tend to just trade the prevailing sentiment. So it's a fun fact, fun thought experiment.
It wouldn't, but even looking at that chart, it wouldn't surprise me if that continued on kind of flagging out a little bit before a move. Like it wouldn't shock, No,
that's what I put it. That's exactly what I said in the tweet yesterday was like, confirm or not, I would expect to see some more fib pong here. And that's why I've got this little short reload zone on it. And that's all good, right? I mean, Bitcoin just confirmed. Typically it's have your confirmation and then find the dip that you can work with. So this is not like a call to battle stations where it's like, hey, everybody, get your bid button ready. If I sound euphoric, it's because I longed down here and I feel safe in that position. But if I was sitting in cash right now, I would strategize things like pump chaser zones, reload zones, like still waiting on dips. Actually, just this morning, I was reaching out to my friend and family, chat group, and I just said, guys, for what it's worth, I think we've seen the worst of it, and the next time the sky's falling, it would be probably the best buy of the year. Whenever that is, from whatever level. The next time things nuke and it seems terrible, probably a good chance that's a higher low. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. No guarantees for management, but that's how I feel. Now let's look at ETHBTC. That's the one you want to see, right? What do you want to see? You want to start? Like
I mean, listen, we've got just interesting narratives on the fundamental side of both of these coins, right? You've got the Bitcoin miner situation and hash rate mooning and like break evens and all of that. And then we've got the Ethereum story with 42 days past merge with $750 million worth of extra supply not getting put on the market. Just a chain. It's, two big narratives here from on the biggest pair. So, what's going on in the pair itself, and what do the charts look like? What?
Well, this is an old one. I remember we were tracking this on our TradingView ideas section, like way back when I first met you in the 20th, April 20th kind of area. And so, or 2020 now. Yeah, this, I don't know how much I like this trend channel now. It obviously was lost, regained, tested, broke down. It's playing with this line for sure, but for today's sake, I might just hide this. I don't know how relevant that is anymore. But look, the big fib extension, which I think would be the logical next line in the sand, is up at 0.11, and that's just drawing off the low to the high and extending it up. Golden pocket in the sky. There's probably a whole bunch of chaos PRZs you could pull from here, depending on which low and which high you want to grab. You can always take the bottom to the top. I find those to be a little too aggressive. I'd rather get a higher probability fill than just a big pie in the sky target. Anyways, I took this one. So it'll be a little easier to see when I put the white lines on it. So yeah, I took that, and that's chaos up at 118 or 0.18. Now, what is the flippening? It's not like 1.0. There's a big difference in supply. So I seem to recall the flippening being somewhere in the mid-teens, mid-upper teens. Maybe someone watching in the chat has a quick number for us. But
yeah, it's got to be less than.
At the market cap flip from ETH to Bitcoin, what is the ratio? I feel like it was in the upper teens. So this would essentially,
like 1.5 at this point, right?
Is it? Yeah, that would essentially be a flippening, which is the talk that I expect to see starting when this goes negative, and if and when this breaks out. I mean, it's the inevitable conversation that will come, and people will say, well, every time the flippening talk starts, it's the top, until it's not. I think it's a foregone conclusion that Ethereum will eventually have more network value than Bitcoin. Bitcoin could counterpunch and say, hey, I'm a world reserve currency now, and I'd be like, yeah, that's freaking dope. I'm flipping my ETH back to Bitcoin. But for now, everything's pointing like ETH.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be all or one. You can
have a bit of both.
You can manage your.
You can wrap your Bitcoin on Ethereum. Maxie's just left. We lost him. Sorry, buddies. No, but I just I am neither or. I am water. I go where I think I can do the best in a month over month return. So right now I'm feeling the ETH. Just checking the chat. Let's check the chat, check the chain. Jordan DeJuice. I don't know if that's how you say your name. I always think of you as Jordan DeJuice. Didn't Russia allow crypto mining recently, hence why we're seeing mining spike? That could be. Because recently it was back in September that they said that. I don't know. Flipping is about 0.16. Yeah. Heliben says about 0.16. That's roughly what I had in my brain. So this chaos PRZ would be chaotic indeed, because it would indicate that. Now an easy chaos would be here to here. Oh, look at that. Right rate on the flip. So if you just take this, like if we break out from here, then this becomes sort of the most relevant chaos level for me, where it just grabs this midway consolidation. And look at that. It's basically on the nose for where the flippening would be, around 1.16. That's pretty dope. We like that. We like that confluence. I think I'll switch over here now. I'm changing parties. Get out of here, old chaos. So if, and this is not relevant, this is not a target yet, we would have to break out of here for this to even exist. But that's like a projection of where I want my trade to go.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta be the chaos you want to see in the world.
Yeah. Which exchange pair is that?
And Kevin Weiner, this is Coinbase, your favorite.
Yeah, look at, no one's trading this fucking pair there. No one's trading pairs anymore. It's all US dollar.
I know. This is a Bitcoin Binance pair to me. Like I trade it on FTX because that's where I trade, and yeah, it takes a while for me to get filled unless I just like bid up the ask, and then the market makers come in, they're buying it on Binance and selling it to me at a premium, like jerks. But that's the business. Yeah. Anyways, it's hard to get a fill. Whoa, this is an old chart. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, it's got like a little more. But look, this is all that I care about. It's change in volume, right? It doesn't have to be super high volume. I just want to see a trend emerge.
Yeah.
And look at, again, this 2-day breakout here. So that is significant. That's not to be ignored. Volume precedes price, blah, blah, blah. Price now moving. Moving averages flipped bullish for the first time since July, which was the beginning of the merge. So this is kind of everything you'd expect to see. Not to say it's easy to see it coming and easy to trade it, but like post-merge, you know, what were we going to see, right? We're going to see a little cool down, like a boredom phase. Okay, nothing coming up. And then reality sets in. Oh, $7 billion not printed in you know, sale side liquidity. Eventually that's got to start to price in, and it looks like it's starting now.
Yeah.
Should be. I mean, it'd be nice if it did.
It feels good to look at some positive setups and little micro structure.
I've been bullish all year, and it's been killing me because the bullish setups were not doing very well. And I had a couple of great shorts and great entries, and I shit every one of them. I got psyched out of every single one. I don't think I had one significantly proper short. I got paper cuts up and down. But look, that's the thing we talked about last week, and we're just going to rehash it once. So you have small wins.
Yep.
Small losses. Break evens. And big wins. That's the 4 kinds of trades you can have if you want to be profitable. If you start getting into the big losses category, you're going to be screwed. And I was absolutely living in here all year. And in fact, I was living mostly here. Paper cuts. 5K, 10K, like whatever it was. It was just like, ooh, just in the corner, just getting pounded down. And so, you know, this is kind of a like a let your winner run kind of thing, because if I cut what could be a big win in some of these trades I'm in right now, then you got to let your winners run.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that I haven't done some de-risking. It doesn't mean that I'm adding yet. I will add. Let's go see. If you want, I mean, let me know if you have anything else you want to cover too. I don't want to go on and on about it. But I think this is the chart a lot of people are watching right now. We are in a very strong trend on the hourly. I mean, hardly any kickbacks, throwbacks. You know, no throwback on the initial breakout. Ran up. I think it front ran. Yeah, it front ran the pump. Oh no, it tagged it beautifully. So if you take like sort of this local hourly breakout trade, yeah, pump chaser zone came in, and it got the reaction you want to see, and it got a nice blast of volume up to the highs. Lots of liquidations. We should talk about that. I don't know what's going on over at FTX. Apparently, like all the liquidations are happening there, and they're like all-time highs or something. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But anyways, this just looks really good right now, and all I'm thinking is add if we get into pump chaser zone territory. because I don't expect the big resistance, the kind of resistance that would put an end to this velocity of move. I don't expect that to happen until up in this kind of a short reload zone, taking out these highs. There's some resistance along the way. We're going to have our stops, but
what levels are those in the green?
so this is like starting at 1700, getting up as high as 1900, all through this short reload zone. That's at a minimum where I expect where this to go.
That's the front.
This reminds me of the breakout in 2019 where I got rinsed. So if anyone out here is getting rinsed, just be aware. It happens to the best of us. You just got to learn from it. Let's go back.
Is that 13 to 15K or 15 to 17? And I was like, homie, like, don't put your line in the sand here. Or why are you so bearish? Were we together yet then?
We were not. I wish we were, because you would have talked me out of all the stupid money losing I did. I was hanging out with Birch and them by then, but we were all like, the whole world was like, I'm going to short 6K, right? I'm going to short 6K. This was like, right? This was the massive level.
Yeah.
And, looking back, it's so easy, but like, nah, this was a lot like the 18 and 20K region as far as like, people expecting it to go lower from there. And, but it was this breakout. This breakout here is what the last 2 days remind me of. And so, yeah, you get some chop and sideways and uncertainty, and this was like a big dump. There was tether FUD this day. I recall clearly because I was on a call with people. They were all trying to sell. I was like, guys, I think we're supposed to buy. But up here at 6K, I started trying to short, and I got rinsed. Then I got rinsed, and I got rinsed, and I got rinsed. I blew half my futures account through this, and then I had no flavor for shorting by the time the short came in. Now, obviously...
Oh, right back down to the fucking level.
I know. And now, and now knowing what I know and trading the way I trade, I would have waited for some high time frame shit. I probably would have got stopped here trying to short this short reload zone, but I would have had a lot more control. I had just started TRI like right around here. So I hadn't gotten through the levels yet. And look at this. This is how high that mid-bear rally went. All the way to the 618 of the entire move. Now fast forward to today, because a lot of people don't want to hear this, right? They're like, you can't be bullish. We're in a bear market. Don't get me suckered into this again. I don't care what you do. But let's just be honest. Let's be real honest. I am living in this range down here. But zoom out. That is a very conservative range. It's a very conservative. Fat W's, breakout, retest, and go on volume. To think that this is the end of the move, a lot of people are like, man, we're not going to get that high. I mean, it's crazy what this bear market has done to people's brains.
Well, there is
this is where the last one went. Sorry.
There is, much less volume in the period where if it does blow through, I mean, there's not that much volume there. There's a gap.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, yeah, there's a gap up to here, really. I mean, from here. But like, this is the weekly W. So if we close above here on a weekly, any kind of dip is a huge buy, and we might just break straight through, because in many ways, in many circles, that would literally just signal the end of the bear.
It probably breaks through and then retests.
But it's crazy to me how much disbelief even I feel that we could just get up to here. Like, I'm already like trimming some of my perps and hoping I can buy back on this moving average, but it's like, it's insane to me, because everything objectively here looks like the greatest, this dip anyways being the higher low of the whole friggin' bear market. Like, it just looks so good. And it's really hard to get your head around that emotion, especially when you're in the trade and then you're on Twitter and everyone's like, watch out below.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to stay off it. But if I'm being honest, I think there's a pretty decent chance that sometime next year, this bear market rally will eventually tag this. I think it's a pretty decent chance. And in fact, it'd be really cute if it touched the sweet spot, which would be a sweep of these highs. And on that day, I bet the same guys right now telling me we're going to friggin' 10K Bitcoin are probably going to tell me I'm stupid for taking profit up here.
Yeah.
But I probably will for the midterm. So, yeah, we'll fire it up today. Can you tell?
Yeah, no, I can't. Let's look at the same view on Bitcoin there. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
What are the key... What's the key zone here?
Well, look,
it's good. as ETH does.
It's not nearly as good, and it's probably, again, like until this trade is over, it's probably going to lag as fuck. So, you won't see me charting too much Bitcoin. I've totally flipped camps for a bit, but again, it drives the bus in many ways for liquidity. So let's see. So we've got some trend lines here. We've moved through both of them. They actually both intersected at a very unique spot. And look at this tag. I mean, it was kind of cool. So that was the CPI print that closed bullish. And we got market structure number 1, market structure number 2. Now we got the big market structure yesterday. So let's just first and foremost look at like a nice cute chaos, because this is a very clear, sexy W. Like it's a pretty clear cut consolidation range. Nothing too messy about it. So that'd be the first major target if we break out of this. Obviously, we have lots of resistance to go here and here.
What is that level?
That's 27K, and that would take us into some recent lows, I believe, or some previous lows. Not really. Kind of lines up with the May nuke a little bit, like that low. Yeah. So that's where I would start looking. And then if you want to really zoom out, probably want to go for a weekly. And I could just get rid of all that shit. And then, I mean, look at that volume. Ugh. Yeah, you're right. That would be such sick psyops if CZ was thinking that. He's like, let's just offer free Bitcoin spot trading to make this look like a high volume low.
He is, bro. I mean,
he's that smart.
Not that he's not, but look at that. That throws off the whole fucking thing. Well, let's go to Coinbase. Let's see what Coinbase looks like.
Let's go to the normal one. Coinbase is actually looking good too for a low. I mean, capitulation, and then like growing. Like buyers are in control according to this. Bulls are in control. If we need a big week though, like for me, I want to see a big week.
We need Barry Silver in there.
I always want to see a big week, but especially.
So what is it? It's Thursday. So we got how many? We got half of today left, maybe not even half. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we got like 3.25 days. So almost half the week left. It could be a big week if we get a strong.
I mean, look, it already has been. It's been the biggest week for quite some time. I mean, we had a big one back here. That was arguably a bigger week, but the volume here is what's significant. Remember, volume's the most important thing here. So we're seeing some significant volume since that CPI print. This was big, but the bears were still in control. We flipped bullish on that CPI print. That close was very significant. The bears kind of fell asleep here, and now the bulls are here. So I think we've seen the changing of the guard, at least midterm. And again, I pray for the lost souls that are just stuck on this. Like, I'm going to wait for the consensus trade to be bullish again, because you should, if that's what you want to do. I mean, be conservative right now. Let's go for it. But sounds like it's the first cycle. This seems clear as day to me, that not that it's going to play out the way I want it to, but that I need to take this risk.
Yeah.
Like dunk it. Like it's the easiest decision I've made in a while. Obviously made easier by the last 2 days. I was way less comfortable and confident 3 days ago. I was like, I really hope this breaks out. Now that it has, I'm like, fucking yeah. Like it just is kind of like a stamp of approval. Now look, that would be the mid bear market rally of 2019 if people like to use fractals. 2021 did not play out like 2017. So I don't know that we should even be looking at all these fractals like this and say it's going to be the same. I don't think it will be. But it's totally normal in markets having a big fat trend to take back half the move. You see it all the time. You see it on the inverse too, right? I mean, that's literally what we're going through right now the other way. We go up. Nobody thinks we're going to come down ever again. Well, look at us. We're right in the reload zone. Nobody thinks we're going to go up again. Well, I bet you a few boxes of donuts we're going to live in that short reload zone sometime in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And maybe sooner, maybe later. Who knows? But
we got a request.
These are the numbers.
We got a request because we got a few minutes left here.
Yeah.
We got,
sorry, I've been ignoring the chat. You got me going.
No,
here.
It's all good. We got a request for Solana in there.
Yeah.
let's take a look. What did it say? Kind of swept the lows and is now back into the range.
Let's take a look at Sol. Oh yeah, yeah. No, I did. I saw. I think it was Korean Jew. Follow him on Twitter. I like some of his stuff, and he was talking about it looking like Solana's about to rip, and he's not wrong. You know, again, watching for the volume to try to see if it'll precede price. Like, does the volume give us hints at what might come? It often leads, and you know, not all green candles in price are created equal. When they have a big stamp of volume behind them, they mean a lot more. And right now we're seeing a breakout in volume. So wouldn't be shocked if Solana joins the party here shortly.
Yeah.
However you want to draw this trend line, but it's kind of moving through this, you know, it's getting out of the dark here. Didn't quite sweep the lows, but doesn't need to. And it's on this 88.6. So yeah, I like Solana. Don't have any. It's one that, you know, I'm very concentrated right now. I don't want to get super spread out. It's not spread out town yet for me. It's like Bitcoin or ETH, and then some shitters, like some really cool shit going on over at Arbitrum. So your high beta ETH. I might have had the right idea back in whatever it was. Remember I was talking about all those Arby plays? Mm-hmm. And then I got rid of them. I felt like a genius because they all went down, and I'm only back into some of them. I am back into PLS. Pretty much where it is now. I think I bought it 35 the other day, and it just volume again looks good. Some other good ones are DPX, both doing good. I don't know which one of these I would want to own. I have no idea. Probably have to read some shit. You know how I feel about reading. But they're all just doing this. They're all doing this thing. You know, breaking out like big breakout volume off the lows into the merge, down to the reload zone, print bullish market structure, new buyers stepping in. Ready to break out. Looks like an X leg across the board. Could be in the cards here.
Yeah, if the macro doesn't spoil the party.
We'd hate for that macaroni to come back. It is kind of like Kruger is a guy I really like. He's Mr. Macro for me. My favorite macro analyst. Hung out with him in New York a few years ago. Also a fun guy to be around and super chill. Anyways, he's a no bullshit kind of guy. He'll tell you he's bearish, he's bullish, he doesn't give a fuck. And he put something out today that I was already thinking, and so I retweeted it. But yeah, here, market is good news. Market in good news is good news mode. And I think that's an important shift to pay attention to, right? We talk about that a lot. When bad news doesn't have an impact anymore, or when good news stops having an impact.
If good news is good news and bad news is good news, that's where we want to be.
Yeah, well, everything good. But for example, there was a lot of people saying that, you know, this Q3 GDP, if it was really good, which it was today, right? Expected 2.4, it was actually 2.6. Okay, so the economy is better than.
No, you got to dig in.
Well, I want to hear your take on this, but this is the take I heard and I disagreed with. It was basically saying that GDP is too good. That means that they're going to feel comfortable continuing the rate hikes. So it's bad. Good is bad. In this case, good is good. So what are your thoughts?
I think that I read an analysis of the report, in that if you break it down, there was one bit that was really, really kind of outsized that it is, if you take it out, the Fed is getting the slowdown that they're looking for out of the economy.
It's a Fugazi number.
It's not going to give the message like, oh, things are better than we think. They can keep raising right in the face of it. You know, it's not one of those that, like, it really does show that things are feeling the effects of this, you know, aggressive rate hiking. So, I don't think it's, you got to break down that kind of the like internals of the report, and I'll shoot you. Maybe we'll put it in the Discord later, the link to that little breakdown. But that reminds me, in the Discord later today at 1:30 Eastern, gonna have a great conversation. Gunny, he's out on the front lines. Gunny and I think
Jedi
blockmates.
Yep.
They're running. I don't know if it's in the Discord or if it's a Twitter Spaces.
Pretty sure it's a Discord stage, but either one.
Yeah.
Show up to both.
It's either
I think it's Discord.
You'll find it, but come join us for that. That's going to be great.
I might be around for that. I have a few things going on this afternoon, but I'm going to see if I can just pop into that because I'd like to be. but I hadn't actually scheduled it myself
Yeah.
specifically yet, but I should.
Yep.
And and keep an eye on this. Going back to what we were just talking about, I mean, just as we wrap up here, Kevin also noticed that, that we kind of kept getting bad news. Things were pretty shitty. They didn't get any better, but we stopped going down, right? Really, since June, since 3AC blew up, we have not made a new low, and that's significant. Even the S&P made a new low. The NASDAQ made a new low. We decoupled in a sort of subtle, hinty way. And I know, Rob, you are one of the fellow decoupleurs, and so that's a party that I can't wait to throw. I'm probably going to come to Chicago when we see, like, if there's just some massive, like, decoupling, like, it's finally, like, the horse is out of the stable, like, I'm coming to Chicago, and then we're just going to go celebrate. We're going to have a decoupling party.
Decoupling
Can't wait.
party.
Whenever that is. I just think it's too small of an industry and too global of a scale to not mark up significantly versus what's already pretty friggin' saturated, which is the S&P, NASDAQ, and all that shit. So arguably overvalued. Ask Meta. So anyways, it's been a goddamn pleasure,
This has
dude.
been good.
I know you got to run. You got that thing.
Yeah.
Everybody who just came to watch, all 44 of you, I think there was a few more at one point, you're champs. You stuck around. We look forward to seeing you again next week.
Smash that like button.
Smash the like. Smash the sub. You're probably already sub, but smash the likes for sure. Let's get some likes up there. And we'll see you next Tuesday. We'll be back. Network Effect or solo stream. I can't remember, but either way, I'll be here. So until next time, whatever you do, always play from a position of strength. Take care.
Thanks.